April 1st and April 15th minutes. At this point, I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Kenneth,
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
second by Bruce. Any comments or questions? All right, let's start with Bruce.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, minutes are approved. Little bit of recap on what was presented to the Board of Commissioners last night. Everything was approved that we did except for one. There was a lot of people that did show up for the concrete plant issue. They followed our recommendations 5-0. Although the chairman tried to convince them the other way, but that was okay too. And he made some good points. He told them exactly what could happen, even though industrial's not rezoned. There's a lot of things that go in there that they may not want. So that was okay. The one that was denied was the piece of property that had the existing house on it that they wanted to, I think it was R1, they wanted to do. And the commissioners decided to approve that, but it was not unanimous. It was 3-2.
That's the one on Moon's Grove.
They denied it.
They approved it.
Oh, they approved it, but y'all had.
We had denied it.
No, I didn't.
You did not. But, a lot of comments made about it. Commissioner Chandler said it's the toughest ones to deal with. It didn't fit, but I guess common sense takes over is what basically said. But anyway, that's kind of what happened last night, so we'll move on to our new business discussion of zoning applications for May 20th, 2025 public hearing. At this point, I'll turn it over to Ms. Tracy.
Okay, Brenda Watkins is requesting to rezone her 26.51 acres from A1 to A2 to split the property into 2 tracts containing 12.751 and 13.763 acres. Property is located at 1364 Outer Hole Rogers Road in Commerce on map 12, parcel 48 in District 1. So, as I said, she just wants to split that property into 2 tracts. She wants to retain one of the tracts and sell the other to her neighbor for a buffer area. So she must rezone the parcel to A2 to accommodate the request. There's ample road frontage. It is consistent with the comp plan, and this property is not in Cuba.
This one property, she gonna keep one of the houses.
She is. She sure is. She's keeping the 12.75 acre tract that the existing house is on.
Any questions? Any other questions on that? That's a question? Is that okay? Any other comments or questions on this one? Hearing none, let's move on.
Okay. Tracy Galloway is requesting to rezone a 2-acre portion of her 17.14 acres from A2 to AR to split and be combined with an adjoining 2-acre AR zone property. The remaining 15.14 acres will remain in the A2 zoning district. Property is located at 1008 Highway 172 in Calvert on map 70, parcel 86 in District 5. So as I said, she's just wanting to rezone that 2-acre portion to AR to sell her neighbor to combine with the existing 2-acre AR zone property for a total of 4 acres. So her remaining parcel can stay in the A2 zone because it meets the minimum lot size requirement. The 2 existing homes that remains on that 15.14 acres is allowed as an existing ADU because Ms. Galloway lives in the principal dwelling and her daughter lives in the smaller home. So it's part of an existing ADU situation and meets all requirements for the A2 zone. Parcel history: in 2023, she rezoned a 2-acre portion of her then 19.14 acres to AR to allow for the split. And the 2 acres that she's wanting to sell to this neighbor, that in fact is the 2 acres that she got from them. So instead of just buying 2 acres, they're going to be buying 4 acres once all is combined. And
So she sold it. So, the 2 acres she's wanting to rezone is,
so she had already sold them 2 acres off of her tract in 2023.
oh, okay.
And now she's wanting to sell them 2 more acres.
But why would, since she's gonna combine it, it don't need to be R1, just the 2 acres? Cause I thought 4 acres had to be a
No, 4 acres is AR.
AR.
That's the minimum lot size, is 4 acres.
So they had to get the other 2 acres in order to be in compliance with the 4-acre rule as of right now.
And they just wanted it as a buffer. But the rezone is consistent with the comp plan, and there's ample road frontage for both tracts.
All right. Any further discussion? Questions? Comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Number 3.
Roy Spray, applicant for Herman Fields, is requesting to rezone a 4-acre portion of his 20 acres from A2 to AR to split and gift his nephew for a home site. The remaining 16 acres will remain in the A2 zone. Property is located at 196 Adams Duncan Road in Hull on map 29, parcel 47-01D in District 3. So again, he's just wanting to gift his nephew 4 acres for a home site. There is ample road frontage for both tracts. AR is consistent with the comp plan. It is in CUVA but will not breach the contract. And parcel history, it originally contained 20 acres, but he split out 5 acres in 2022. So the proposed split will be the second split to the property within 3 years, which is allowed.
But he can't split it more than how many years?
Well, he could do it one more time, actually.
Questions?
What if he was wanting to split it instead of to gift it to his nephew, but sell it to some out-of-state communist for a great profit to himself? What the heck difference does it make? Why don't we say this?
I don't know.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an interesting example.
That was a friend of mine in high school's greatest insults, you out-of-state communist.
All right, any further questions on this one? Number 4.
All right, Pierce Golden is requesting to rezone a 6.32 acre portion of his 31.92 acres from A1 to AR split for tax purposes. The remaining 25.6 acres will remain in the A1 zone. Property is located at 245 Bertha Willis Road in Carlton on map 105, parcel 12-01 in District 4. So essentially, he wants to rezone the 6.32 acre to AR to split out because the tax purpose is regarding his CUBA contract that he's currently in breach of with a $3,000 penalty if he doesn't split the acreage back out of that property. So the property history is the parent parcel for this tract originally contained 50.6 acres and was zoned A1. The owner at the time broke the property into 3 tracts containing one 18.6 acre tract, one 6.32 acre tract, and one 25.6 acre tract to sell to individuals. Shane Sarter got the 18.68 acres, and Mr. Golden received the 6.32 and the 25.6 acre tract. Before Mr. Salter could receive that 16.68 acres, he had to rezone the property from A1 to A2 because A1 required 25 acre minimum lot size. So Mr. Sarter went through the rezone and was approved by the VOC on January 8th of 24. The site plan also showed the other 2 tracts belonging to Mr. Golden as being combined, which did not require a rezone because it met the minimum lot size requirement. All was fine until Mr. Golden received the CUBA breach notice dated March of 25, stated he had violated his CUBA because he combined the 2 tracts together. The 25.6 acre tract had its own contract, so when the 6.32 acres were combined with it, it breached that contract. Chief Appraiser Robin Baker stated the acreage cannot be added to a tract without breaching it. He said the only way to correct this problem is to have the 6.32 acres taken back out, which is the reason for this rezone. So the 6.32 acres does not have road frontage, so it will require a 30-foot easement through Mr. Golden's adjoining property to access it. And the AR zone is consistent with the comp plan.
So help me understand.
I know, that was a
No,
lot.
help me understand this CUBA. You have to, if they contract a certain amount of acreage, you can, they're saying you can't.
Can't add to it. Because that contract, from what I understand from the property valuation staff, is the contract is for a set number of acres.
Yeah.
And you can't add to that acreage without breaching that contract that was originally for that set amount of acres.
So they're taking, is the CUBA, is that taking, trees? What's CUBA?
It's the conservation program where they receive up to 50% discount if they agree to put their land in a qualifying CUBA program, meaning they can't touch it for 10 years without breaching the contract.
It's just a tax
Tax incentive.
Well, that's what I can't understand. If I'm adding land to it.
Wonder if they've ever read this. If a qualified owner has entered into an original bona fide conservation use covenant and subsequently requires additional qualified property contiguous to the property in the original covenant, the qualified owner may elect to enter the subsequently acquired qualified property into the original covenant for the remainder of the 10-year period of the original covenant, provided, however, that such subsequently acquired qualified property shall be less than 50 acres.
Oh my God.
You probably knew that, didn't you?
No,
Yeah.
I did not.
What does that mean?
I've been knowing that for years, but
Wow.
it means you can buy up to 50 acres and add it to the covenants you've already got that's next to you.
That's why I couldn't understand why
So
they,
that's their,
You knew that.
that's their total.
they could not buy.
We can't argue with them folks.
Yeah, I'm
Forget
sorry.
it, forget it. Just do what you do.
We don't
Ain't nothing we can do
even
about it.
worry about that.
I knew that.
I know, but I
Yeah.
just didn't understand, is it different here in Madison County or what?
Yeah.
Cause I'm not.
Only because of the people down there.
Okay, cause I couldn't understand why he couldn't add property to something that he already, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, thank you for explaining.
What you just read, that wasn't Madison County, right?
That's the state of Georgia.
That's the state of
Last time,
Georgia.
look, we were in it.
That's state of Georgia.
And if you're real estate, you know the state of Georgia.
All right. Anyway, any more questions? You know, they said that's the rule here, so.
In addition to, I came up yesterday because I caught something on this and I asked the question. It just seems to me like this shouldn't have even come up. This guy got caught breaching CUBA, which should have been caught by someone here in the first place. And the reason I say that is when we divide land, it has to come here, it comes to Tracy, she looks at the zoning aspects of it. They have to go down to the assessor's office and get CUBA advice as to whether, you know, it can be done or not, right?
Mhm.
So that's
I don't know
separated.
how we require people to do that,
Well,
but it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you can't, what it does is it gives people information so that they don't breach CUBA
Mhm.
after, you know, and find out after the fact. In this case, they're joining properties. Why do we not go through a similar process? It sounds to me like this plat came in here and they just deemed it breaching CUBA. I mean, why did this guy get some forewarning as if he were dividing land? And so here he is.
We didn't get told to write it, he got told something that's illegal anyway,
Yeah,
so what
that's
difference
what
would it
I'm
make
saying.
if you went down there or not?
He needs to read
And I think it was
Georgia
a
law.
continuation of the property owner that originally had it, and I think that's where the problem went into. It was,
So does this guy already own land that's in CUBA? And he bought some land next to it that he wanted to add to his covenant? Is that what happened?
he already, so the only land that he owns is that 25.60 acre tract, and it had its own CUBA for that, but the 6.32 acres,
So was he buying 6.32 acres?
yes, to
Does it
absorb
touch the
into-
25 acres he already owns?
It
That he had in CUBA?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It didn't make no sense. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Well,
it-
to me, if it shouldn't have happened,
yeah,
then that needs to be brought forward.
yeah.
You know, public hearing level or whatever. I mean, this guy, to me, he has spent $250 in time on something that shouldn't happen.
That's why people should
I
always read the
I
contract.
totally agree with that, but somebody correct me from, that's not what we're here for. We're here to rezone that 6.2 acres. Now, nothing wrong with pointing out to the appropriate bodies where they can make that correction. But we either need to decide whether we're gonna allow the rezone or not. Because we can't do anything about it. Except let the appropriate people know. That's all we can do. Any other comments or questions on this? All right,
Okay.
go to the next one.
Nick and Heather Jefferson are requesting to rezone a 10.94 acre portion of their 52.22 acres from A1 to A2 to be split and retained. The remaining 41.28 acres will remain in the A1 zone and will be sold. The property is located at 1745 Hannah Creek Church Road in Royston on map 75, parcel 1 in District 4. So, as I said, he's just wanting to keep his existing home with that 10.94 acres. you know, and it would have to go to the A2 to meet the minimum lot requirement. And then the remaining can stay in A1. So it has ample road frontage for both tracks. The A2 zone is consistent with the comp plan. The property is in Cuba, and the split will cause a breach to his contract with a penalty of approximately $8,800, but the owner acknowledges it and is willing to pay for the breach. So this is one that knew it in advance and wanted to do it.
Questions or comments? All right. Next.
Okay. Eric Borders, applicant for Jerry Wakefield, is requesting a dual rezone for his A2 zoned 10.98 acres. He's requesting to rezone a 2.963 acre portion from A2 to R1 to split and retain, and to rezone the remaining 8.024 acres from A2 to AR to sell and bring the property into compliance with zoning. The property is located at 7968 Highway 29 South in Hull on map 31, parcel 72 in District 3. So this property is part of an estate left to 6 siblings, and Jeffrey Wakefield is one of those siblings, and he is the power of attorney over the estate. But the applicant, Eric Borders, is the spouse of one of the siblings that will actually be purchasing this 8.024 acre tract. So they're wanting essentially just to break it into 2 tracts.
What character area is this?
It is, I didn't put the character, but it is consistent with the R1.
How do we know if we don't know the character area?
Well,
That's
because
not
it's,
far from Hazel's.
let's see.
See.
It's, both the R1 and AR zones are consistent with the comp plan, as the vast majority of the surrounding properties are zoned R1, which he's back, you can see here.
All right, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what character area it's in, but
South Madison.
Yeah.
That's one I didn't list, sorry.
Well, and I get it, that, so you got a comp plan that supposedly everybody, and a lot of reference is being made to it now, but you don't have an overlay so that you can actually easily tell where things are.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I paid $100-some thousand for a comp plan, but we can't actually put it on the application.
Yeah, exactly. But, so it does have ample road frontage for both tracks.
Any other questions about this one? Number 7?
All right. This is one. All right, so Andrew Saunders is requesting to rezone a 5.6 acre portion of this 40.97 acre property from A1 to AR to split for a family member. The remaining 35.37 acres will remain in the A1 zone. Property is located at 0 Fred Goss Road in Danielsville on map 69, parcel 81 in District 2. So, as I said, he's wanting to split out 5.6 acres for a family member for a home site. That portion will need to be rezoned to AR, and the remaining 35.37 acres can stay in the A1 zone because it meets that minimum lot size requirement. The AR zone is consistent with the comp plan. The tract does not have road frontage, so it will be served by an existing easement that serves this 40.97 acres plus 2 other tracts. This will make the 4th parcel using the easement. This easement was originally platted and recorded in February of 2022, prior to the adoption of the driveway ordinance that was adopted in May of 2022. The easement is exempt from the driveway ordinance and will not be required to be paved or brought up to county road standards. So there's a little bit of a lengthy parcel history, and I will need to reference those tracts. Let's see, when it was recorded, split. Okay. So I'm referencing this plat that was recorded. So in February of 2022, tracts 1 through 4 originally split out of a 95-acre tract of land. Tract 1 contains 6.533 acres. Tract 2 contains 6.532 acres. Tract 3 contains 40.968 acres, and Tract 4 contains 40.964 acres. All tracts were zoned A1, as the minimum lot size requirement for A1 was still 5 acres at that time. So Mr. Saunders, So in regards to the new desired split, since the previous splits were done in February of 2022, the 3-year waiting period requirement is now over and the new split could be allowed. Mr. Saunders stated he has no plans of making any future splits to the property in the future and would gladly be willing for the board to set that as a condition if needed for approval. Mr. Saunders' own home is on Tract 2, and he owns Tract 3 as well. His neighbor, Justin Tyson, has his home on Tract 1 and owns Tract 4 as well. But Tract 4 is vacant and is accessed off of Highway 172. And believe it or not, the property is not in Cooper.
So does that make that a subdivision?
If he splits it again, he'd have to get that road paved, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought if you had, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, that's a separate parcel.
Oh, that's
This parcel actually has road frontage here,
Oh,
and it does have a gate if you go down through there. It's got like a road put in.
So those 4 properties, other than that one,
Mm-hmm.
are accessed by the easement?
Mm-hmm. So the split would make it full.
Mr. Channel, how do you feel about that one?
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions or comments on this?
so 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are accessed from the easement, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of tricky. This first lot right here towards the Fred Goss Road, the owner has a house there, and the owner owns this tract, this large tract here. Mr. Saunders owns Tract 2 and owns all of this.
But they're all related?
No.
Oh, they're not related, okay.
So he could actually, if he had chosen to, access that lot off of, through his own property. It's not feasible, but
Let me ask you something. If there's 2 owners, they can split that, keep splitting that property, can't they?
Well, the other tract couldn't be further divided because there's not enough road frontage as it is.
But then, if they do, they have to use that easement and then make it a subdivision, right? Or they have to pave it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they can further divide that one? Because there's two owners, so they can keep dividing, 'cause,
They would have to pave it and bring it up to county road.
oh, yeah.
That where your pointer is, that particular tract there has road frontage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he can divide it.
Well,
He can split it again.
they just got a small track there, ain't it, a road frontage?
Yeah, it's just very
Oh, it's
little.
not wide enough, I guess.
He'd have to have an easement going to the track it needs, if he splits it.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
And he's good with conditions that he can't split again?
Mm-hmm. He said he most certainly is.
All right. Number 8.
For one person, the other person.
Ready? All right. Kara Eck, applicant for Donna Kane, is requesting to rezone an 8.1 acre portion of her 23.60 acres from A1 to AR to split and sell to a family member, and to rezone the remaining 15.50 acres from A1 to A2 to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. Property is located at 333 Sailors Road in Hull on map 15, parcel 95 in District 1. So, as I stated, Ms. Kane wants to split out the 8.1 acres for her niece and husband for a home site. Mrs. Kane's husband recently passed away, and she's just wanting her niece to live, close to her. So the remaining 15.5 acre tract with Ms. Kane's existing home, she will, of course, retain and continue to live there. So a dual rezone is required. The 8.1 acre portion must go to AR, and the remaining 15.5 acres will need to go to A2 because it does not meet the minimum lot size requirement for A1. So there will be an easement. The 8.1 acre tract will have to be accessed by an easement that will only serve this tract of land. Although on paper, there's ample road frontage for the tract. However, the topography of the land presents an issue that's requiring the easement. There's 3 ponds on it, and it's not feasible to have that road frontage there. The AR and A2 zones are consistent with the comp plan. Property is in Cuba, but in the last year of the contract and property valuation determined this transaction will not constitute the breach.
All right. Questions? Comments? All right. Going back, I want to just revert back just for a moment to the number 4. I believe in rights to everybody, even though we don't have anything to do with it. No, I kind of agree with you. This man paid $250 for it.
I was copied
Sounds like no
pasted
reason.
the language that I read y'all into an email with the site, and emailed it to Tracy and Robin Baker with a copy to Todd.
Okay, that should suffice. I wanted somebody to do something to make them aware that this man should have to pay $250 for something that's not his fault.
But other than that, I mean, also, he is gonna be, what did he have to pay for breaching Hoover?
It was like $3,000.
Yeah, why should he pay that if he's not breaching it really, according to Georgia laws, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure Georgia law outweighs whatever
He needs to
matters.
look into that
So,
and get his Hoover money back.
You
All right,
think,
Lee.
wouldn't you? Well, it taught me, but law school was apparently just a waste of time.
Is there anything else that we bought? for us tonight? Not, I think a motion to adjourn.
You did the first.
Bruce.
Bruce?
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. You just make that motion? I can't.
And I'll take it.
Okay, all right. We're adjourned. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you, y'all too.
Oh.